for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
Everybody comes in, your grandmother, everybody comes in, your grandmother, your father, your mother, your brother, your cousins. They come in so easily, so crazy, so crazy. Everybody comes in, your grandmother, everybody comes in, your grandmother, so crazy, so crazy, so crazy, so crazy, so crazy, so crazy, so crazy. Everybody comes in, your grandmother, everybody comes in, your grandmother, everybody comes in, your grandmother.
Sam, if I could just get the sentence out. We can talk about Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow, and I still believe in force the vote.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know. I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ. On political corruption, we are going to restore honor to our government. In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law. They have cans of soup, and they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
Here's the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same. Here's the polls, Jack.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
But the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Dumb. So dumb.
You used the word smart. So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
But it's a class action lawsuit against all machines.
I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
Oh, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce.
Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation of the Gosh Darn God Dang. And I'm doing a show. I've got a show. I'm doing it, and I've lined it up. I'm doing the show today. Today's show is 1,000. Today's show is 1,696. That's the show. That's what episode number I'm on. I got numbered episodes. And I'm doing that. That's happening. And so I'm doing a show. I've got a show going on. Okay. I've had a lot of coffee this morning. I'm also really high, so just bear the fuck with me. I'm trying my best. So I've got some news. This is a news show. I've got some news. For the news show, because this is a news show. I'm supposed to provide people with, information that they can use throughout their day to engage in the discourse, whatever the fuck that shit fucking means. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing here. Anyway, so we're doing a show. We're doing a goddamn. We got Mila in the chat. We got Seth in the chat. We got Glam Girl Adel in the chat. And many, many more. Maybe even including you or your favorite user. They might be here in the chat. So anyway, we got a show going on today. I've got some sunglasses here. And so, yeah, look at that. Look how cool I am. So anyway, got some sunglasses here. And now they're gone. So, doing a show today. Many people have been asking me, many people, like, they come up to me, many people are saying, and they ask me, what the hell? You talk about processed food, you talk about calories, you talk about all this bull-ass shit, but what the fuck does any of it even mean? What is processed food? What is ultra-processed food? I don't know! I need your fucking help. So, I decided that I'm not going to help you, and instead I'm going to outsource it to a Washington Post article to see what they're saying. What are ultra-processed foods? What should I eat instead? So let's see. What does the Washington Post have to say about this? There's lots of news going on here about the American diet. Joe Biden is saying, you know what? Fuck that goddamn shit. Pizza and hot dogs. Be gone, bitch. He's saying goodbye to the pizza and hot dogs. And so should you. Anyway, let's see what Washington Post has to say. Is your diet ultra-processed? In many households, ultra-processed foods are mainstays at the kitchen table. They include products that you may not even think of as junk food, such as breakfast cereals. Yo, I was at the grocery store yesterday. Went to the cereal aisle. Oops All Berries. Oreo O's. Fucking, like, what? Fruit Loops. How can a motherfucker not know that breakfast cereal, like, is not junk food? Okay, but anyway. Muffins? You don't think muffins are junk food? It's a fucking muffin! Snack bars? Yo, I mean, I can't with this list. This is, who is this written by? Okay. Sweetened yogurts? Really? Sweetened yogurts? No, never have guessed that sweetened yogurts. Sweetened yogurts are junk food? No. Soft drinks? Oh! I would have never realized Coca-Cola's junk food? Who's this article written for? I don't know. These foods represent an increasingly large share of the world's diet. Almost 60% of calories that adults in America eat are from ultra-processed foods. Now, again, I have said this many times on my show. Calories don't mean anything. Calories are negative information. Whatever you think about calories, just get it out of your brain. It doesn't mean anything. They account for 25 to 50% of the calories consumed in many other countries, including England, Canada, France, Lebanon, Japan, and Brazil. Every year, food companies introduce thousands of new ultra-processed foods with an endless variety of flavors and ingredients. These products deliver potent combinations of fat, sugar, sodium, and artificial flavors. You gotta have the artificial flavors. You can't have natural flavors. Fuck that shit. They are what scientists call hyper-palatable, irresistible, easy to overeat, and capable of hijacking the brain's reward system and provoking powerful cravings. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Cocaine. You know what that reminds me of? Alcohol. You know what that reminds me of? Crystal meth. It's a fucking drug. I don't know. I mean, I've said this many times. But I just love how, like, mainstream media, they can't interpret it that way. They're just like, oh, this food is really good and it makes people happy and it makes them unable to stop eating. Huh. Yet, in dozens of large studies, scientists have found that ultra-processed foods are linked to higher rates of obesity, heart disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and colon cancer. A recent study of more than 22,000 people found that people who ate a lot of ultra-processed foods had a 19% higher likelihood of early death, 32% higher risk of dying from heart disease compared to people who ate few ultra-processed foods. So how do we break our dependence on ultra-processed foods? You can start by learning which foods in your diet count as ultra-processed. You don't necessarily have to give them up, but once you know how to spot an ultra-processed food, it's easy to find a less processed substitute. All right, y'all. So what is an ultra-processed food? This is your body on ultra-processed foods. Okay, well, what is an ultra-processed food? Finding less processed substitutes. All right? We already know what happens to your body. It fucks you up, okay? Fucks you up beyond belief. Your liver is going to get all fucking fatted up, right? Your kidneys are going to go like, right? Your lungs are going to go like, right? It fucks your shit up. You know about hearts? Well, you don't know shit about hearts on processed food. Why? Because they're going to fuck you up in ways that you can't even imagine, okay? So we'll skip that part. The simplest way to cut ultra-processed foods from your diet is to buy fewer prepared and packaged foods to consume more whole and minimally processed foods. Instead of buying sweetened fruit yogurts loaded with additives. Who the fuck buys sweetened yogurt? Like, I'm serious, man. I know Americans, like, they're fucking crazy. But I haven't had, like, fucking yogurt since, like, my mom gave me Go-Gurt in, like, fucking 3rd grade. Like, who the fuck? Oh, God, yogurt! I'm so healthy! Like, it's literally just sugar and more sugar and fructose and just throw some sugar on top. That's what fuck. And also plain yogurt. I mean, yogurt's not that good. I mean, fuck the yogurt, okay? I'm anti-yogurt. Add berries, nut butter, and honey if you like. Consider skipping the frozen chicken nuggets and making those baked nuggets at home, which don't take much more time. How about you skip the whole chicken thing anyway? We add chlorine to that shit. Bleach our fucking chickens. What the fuck? Who does that? You should also eliminate sugary sodas and sports drinks. I love the idea of sports drinks. You ever meet these people that obviously are not doing any form of a sport whatsoever, probably haven't in fucking 30 years, and they're buying like a 28 pack of fucking Gatorade? You ever see that motherfucking shit? You ever see that fucking shit? They don't need that shit. Sports drinks. Like, again, like, this is a genius of marketing. Same thing with juice, right? Like, juice. Oh, it's healthy for you. Sports drinks. Oh, it's good. It has electrolytes. Oh, it has electrolytes. Oh, great. Well, I'm glad. You know, like, I'm glad that I could get my electrolytes from Gatorade. Where else would I get them? How else would I get those electrolytes? I don't know, eating fucking food, maybe? Like, again, even if you're doing sports, Gatorade isn't even that healthy for you. It's better to just get, like, a direct electrolyte thing, maybe a little bit of sugar. But Gatorade just goes way over the top. They use that artificial-ass shit. They use fructose. They use all the fucking garbage, okay? I mean, again, sports drinks? Like, that's a category? You know what that's called? It's called soda without the carbonation. That's what Gatorade is. It's soda without the carbonation. It's not a fucking, like, you know, a fucking puzzle that has 60,000 fucking pieces. It's soda with no carbonation. It's that simple, okay? Same thing with juice. Substitute with sparkling water with lemon or lime, unsweetened teas, and plain water or water flavored with real fruit. I'm a seltzer person. I like seltzer. So, if you need the convenience of ultra-processed foods, you can check labels and comparison shop. Now, again, checking labels, I'm going to be honest with you. Checking labels, yeah, you want to check labels, obviously. Duh, no shit. But no one needs the convenience of ultra-processed foods, right? That is like, that's already bad to begin with, right? That's like, oh, are you tired? You can't wake up in time to do your second job? Have you tried crystal meth? Right? Like, whoa, about, I don't know, maybe we reorganize our system to prevent that from being in the first place, where crystal meth is the best idea on how to proceed, right? You don't need anything about processed food. You just don't need it. You just, like, oh, like, I don't know, how about you cook fucking food at home? It takes 15 minutes to cook something really basic. I don't know, you could do bulk cooking, get some fucking leftovers in the fridge, eat some leftover spaghetti or some shit in the morning. Hey, it's better than this fucking shit. I'm just saying. So, try to pick the products with the fewest ingredients. For help while shopping, you can pull up a website on your phone called truefood.tech. On the site, you can type in a food that you want to buy, such as chicken nuggets or breakfast cereal, neither of which you should ever be buying. Don't buy those things. But if you do buy those things, you can go to truefood.tech. They'll tell you what to do. And in the response, the site will show you dozens of brands and recommend the least processed versions. Oh, it uses machine learning. This is just an advertisement for some random startup. I mean, you know, God bless them. But this site was created. Okay, this is what? This is just an advertisement. Anyway. So, okay, the Washington Post. How to cut. So, what are processed foods? I don't know. It doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you. What are ultra-processed foods? What should I eat instead? It doesn't really tell you. It doesn't tell you what the definition of ultra-processed is. It doesn't tell you that. And then, like, the last half, how do I stop eating ultra-processed foods? Oh, go download this app. Oh, great. Okay. By the way, did you know that this app's CEO is a really cool guy? Like, what? Who fucking cares? Anyway, you know, mainstream media talking about ultra-processed foods, you know. I don't know, man. It's really cringy. Like, I try to read all these articles, you know. Sometimes I think, you know, they look good enough to do on the show. But once again, it's as easy as just buying regular-ass food, just buying whole foods. You know, it's that easy. Buy canned food if you have to. Canned food is what we call, like, the minimally, possibly, like, you know, canned vegetables, that kind of shit. Minimal processing. It's not even really processing, really. When you look at, like, that's the thing with our definitions. Like, all these words don't mean anything. What does processing mean? I mean, there's a process of picking a goddamn bell pepper and putting it on the produce aisle. That's a process. But when they mean by processed food, what they mean is, like, they isolate the proteins and they isolate all the fucking shit and then they reassemble it like it's like reverse engineering food or whatever. That's really what they mean when they say all like processed, ultra processed, right? So yes, there is a process of putting vegetables in a can, but does that really count as processed in this forum of like what we're conversing about? Not really. But either way, I love the idea that people just don't know that breakfast cereal. Oh, I had no idea that the Fruit Loops were junk food. Oh, I had no idea. I just had no idea. Oh my god, man. Anyway, so there you go. That's our first segment for today. Have I tried alcohol for dispersion? Have you tried beating your kids for economic anxiety? I haven't tried those things. I don't even know what dispersion is. Is that like a disease? Did Biden come up with the term? No. Processed has been around for, like, I don't know, at least 10 years. But ultra-processed, I started reading about ultra-processed in studies, like, maybe 3 years ago. Ish, But again, the words are so vague, they don't really mean anything. Anyway, hopefully everyone's having a good day. Once again, I'm really fucked up today. So bear with me if I'm a little, weird today. Sometimes I'm weird. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, holy fucking shit, I thought this would be over by now, but we're still in. And then, I do a show. So, that's today. That's what's happening today. Taking control of our own lives. Quote, Virginia students walk out over reversal of transgender protections. This is in USA Today. Arlington, Virginia! More than 1,000 students walked out of Virginia middle and high schools Tuesday, organizers said, leaving class in protest of the state's reversal of transgender protections that put decisions on students' identities and preferred names at school exclusively in the hands of their parents. Now again, this is a situation where 100% of parents, like this law, this rule doesn't really apply to parents who aren't abusive. That's the thing, right? Like if you are not an abusive parent, your child is not going to fucking hesitate for a second really to come out as gay or transgender or whatever if you're not an abusive piece of garbage, right? So it's not like, oh, the parents are being withheld this information. Not if you're a normal person, right? So the only thing that these laws and these policies affect is they make abusive parents more abusive. That's it. That's the only outcome. That is the only outcome. Because a non-abusive parent is already going to know about this stuff, right? It doesn't matter if they're told, right? They're not going to do anything, right? But if you are going to hide that you're gay or transgender or whatever from your parents, why would you want to hide that? Why would you feel compelled to hide that? Why? Because your parents might beat the fucking shit out of you or throw you out of the house. That's why, right? So again, all of this shit, literally, the only tangible effect, the only thing that happens in the real world is more children will get abused more often. That's it. That's it. That's it. Anyone that wants to try to pretend to come up with any other reason for this shit, any other effect that this is going to have, I challenge you that. I challenge you to do that. But the only effect that this has in the real world, not in your stupid right-wing fantasy land, in the real world is more parents who are abusive are going to have more reasons to beat the fucking shit out of their kids or abuse them in other ways, right? Because this law, these policies, they do not affect people that have good relationships with their children. They do not affect people that aren't bigoted scumbags, okay? Because they're already going to know this shit anyway, right? So again, the only effects that these laws and policies have is to bully the shit out of transgender and gay kids and to make sure that they're abused at home by their parents. That's it. I'm sorry. So come up with another reason if you want. Leave it in the comment section. I'll check it out. Anyway, so the policy here, the guidelines released September 16 by Republican Governor Youngkin's administration requires students to use restrooms, pronouns, and names based off their official school records. It limits sports teams to gender assigned at birth, and it tightens parental notification requirements. Yes, third graders playing soccer. I mean, gender segregation is so necessary there. But again, I ask you this question. How do you know? How do you know? What if someone transfers into a Virginia school, right? And so, like, you know, they're trans or whatever. They transfer in. Some shit's already changed, whatever. So they transfer in. How do you know if they're trans or not? How do you know? What if they're intersex? How do you know? What if they all present as a cisgender woman, right? But they've got XY chromosomes, or XYY, or XXY. How do you tell? Well, obviously, the only way you tell is in Ohio, they passed, just a way of an enforcement mechanism. Well, they didn't pass it, actually. They introduced it, and then, like, everyone was like, what the fuck, you creeps, right? And then they kind of just like, But the only way to actually enforce these laws is by mandatory genital checks and chromosomal tests on every child. That's the only way to do this. That's the only way to do it. Unless, how else are you going to enforce it? Oh, we're just going to pick kids that we think are trans? Really? Now, what are the processes that you use to think that they're trans? Oh, it's just vibes, bro. So you're telling me any teacher, any child can just say that person's trans and then they have to like be excluded from things? I don't know. It sounds like an avenue for bullying. Andrew Kohler, $2 super chat. Same with parental notification laws for abortion. Of course. These people are fucking crazy. So anyway, what students are saying, revoking transgender protections now would be like dialing back the clock. It'd be like telling students, we don't really care. You're not really who you believe yourself to be. Andrea Grace Macuna, 16, told USA Today on Tuesday at John R. Lewis High School in Springfield, where more than 100 of her peers walked out in protest to the football field. So there's some photos here. As you can see, over 1,000 students walk out. Pride Liberation Project, a youth-led LGBTQ advocacy nonprofit, helped organize the walkouts throughout the day at more than 100 schools and said that over 1,000 students participated Tuesday. As some high schools in Northern Virginia, hundreds of students poured out of the buildings in the morning, spending roughly half an hour chanting their opposition to the new guidance and listening to speakers. Now, again, how much of a loser do you have to be to not walk out when this shit's happening? Like, imagine you're in school and you're thinking to yourself, oh, they're walking out in favor of trans rights. No, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to do my homework. Like, fuck you, fucking nerd. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, imagine being one of these motherfuckers who's not walking out. Like, my God. Like, we're talking about some dumbass fucking nerds. So anyway, we're really having our own agency and taking control of our own lives in a way that many youths feel they can't at this age, she said, noting that Fairfax County schools have been progressive in allowing students to go by the name and pronouns of their choosing. Teachers have been really accommodating of that, and now a lot of students feel confident in their gender expression. Now, again, a lot of places, a lot of the times, right, people, where are they spending most of their time? At school. Probably at home, right? But again, a lot of home time is spent sleeping, so does that really count? So you're at, school, right? Let's say your parents are abusive. You're at school. That's really the only place where you can be yourself. Let's say you're really starting to understand who you are and then again, all of a sudden, right? The governor is like, we got to tell your mama about this. You go home and they beat the fucking shit out of you, right? That fucking shit's crazy. And now, again, it doesn't affect anyone that wouldn't beat the shit out of their kids. Why? Because they would already know that. Student activists at McLean High School encouraged the 100-plus teens who walked out at 10:30 a.m. to attend the district's next school board meeting. Trans rights are human rights, the organizers chanted into the megaphone. DOE, leave us be. I don't know what DOE means, but I'm sure it means something. Some speakers recalled their own mental health struggles and how the new guidelines would cause more pain for already vulnerable youth. I was just completely terrified. I cried, said Casey Calbia, a 17-year-old senior at McLean High School, when they heard about the new policy last week. It was a huge blow to myself and so many other students. The personal toll of these things is just monumental. Now, again, if you are queer in this country, you are basically just given for free PTSD for the rest of your life. Like, imagine, right? You're growing up, you understand you're gay, you're trans, whatever, and then immediately, right, everyone in the world is trying to fucking, kill you, right? People are threatening you, you get the spotlight at all times, people are making fun of you, you're being highlighted in media, you're being talked about by everyone, being called a freak by everyone, right? Again, if you're a queer in the United States of America, it's basically mandatory, PTSD. You're just going to be traumatized for the rest of your life. And that's the goal. I mean, that's the goal of these people. They want you to get fucked up. So, Again, these students going out here and doing all this stuff is really good. And I'm glad that some young people are, aware of what's right and what's wrong. Not a lot of young people are, but these young people are for sure. And again, imagine being such a fucking nerdy loser that you're like, these guys really care about transgender rights. I'm going to stay in school and I'm going to do my homework. Take advantage of the opportunity to get ahead. Seriously, I mean, my God, right? Imagine not actually, imagine you see everyone walking out in favor of something really cool, and then you don't. My God, right? Okay. But anyway, there you go. Peter Houseman, are you pretending to be stupid, or is this what's going on here? I don't understand. Is bullying nerds and I'm not going to take it anymore. Hashtag walking out. See, there you go. All right. Moving on with the news. We have some news here, y'all. Some goddamn news. Y'all like news? How do you feel about news? So yesterday, I talked about Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General for Texas, and how he literally ran away from someone trying to issue a subpoena. He literally ran away, he jumped into a running car and disappeared, right? And then he went on social media and said, I'm not a coward. I ran away from them because they were scaring the shit out of me. They were goddamn scary. I'm not a coward. Well, you just said you were scared. I'm not a coward. Why you dare say that? I'm not. Right, but guess what? Check this out. Judge rules the Texas Attorney General does not have to appear at a hearing on abortion lawsuit after affidavit alleges he ran from person serving subpoena. So a judge hears this story and says, let him slide. In fact, he doesn't even have to show up at all anymore. Did I read this right? Clearly there's something I must have... I can just run away from a subpoena and then not have to deal with it? Is that really how easy it is? Wow, next time I get subpoenaed, right, I'm just gonna jump out the back of my fucking house and then just run for it? And if I just keep running, I'll be off the hook. A Texas judge ruled Tuesday that the state attorney general, Ken Paxton, does not have to appear at a hearing related to abortion access lawsuit after an affidavit alleged that he ran away twice from a person who was serving him a subpoena related to the lawsuit. The subpoena was part of a lawsuit filed in August by several abortion funds, as well as by an individual abortion provider seeking to block Texas officials from bringing cases under blah, blah, blah. You already know that shit. The affidavit says 2 subpoenas were issued for Paxton, one under his professional title as Attorney General and one addressed to him individually. Paxton's office filed a motion to quash the subpoenas, saying they were not proper and had not been effectively served. Now, again, he literally ran out of the house and jumped into a running vehicle that his wife started up. So his wife leaves the house, starts up the vehicle, he runs, he bolts out of the house, jumps into the running vehicle, and they buzz off. And now he's like, oh, well, they didn't effectively serve the subpoena. What? Paxton refused to engage a person trying to serve him at his home Monday morning, according to the motion. On Tuesday, a Texas judge granted Paxton's request to quash and seal the subpoena to appear at the hearing. Top executive officials have not been called to testify, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, isn't that great? I don't know, man. This is hilarious. This is really... I gotta learn something from here. I gotta learn something here, man. Next time someone tries to issue me a summons, subpoena, whatever, I'm jumping. I gotta dig a tunnel in my basement that directly ends up in a sewer, right? That way I can just disappear, right? I just fucking put it behind a fucking rotating bookshelf. They will never serve me. It's called the Ken Paxton. That's what the strategy is called. We call it the Ken Paxton. So anyway, this is just a recount. I already made a video about this. Go watch that if you're interested. It's clear the media wants to drum up another controversy involving my work as Attorney General. So now they're attacking me for having the audacity to avoid a stranger lingering outside my home and showing... if I had a stranger lingering outside of my home and I don't know who they are, right? Check this out. You know what I wouldn't do? Jump out of my house and leave the home empty. Why would someone be lingering outside the house? Unless they're there to issue a subpoena, right? But maybe they're scoping it out, casing the joint to break in. So you're just going to leave? Right? And then just give them the house? I mean, I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense. So, there you go. But if you're Ken Paxton, break the law, fuck it. Break the law again, fuck it. Fuck it. Let's break the law 30 times. A judge will get my back no matter what. Why? Because this is the Attorney General. He's basically above the law. He doesn't have to worry about subpoenas. What? All the judges are in his pockets. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's a free man in the literal sense. This guy could fucking get away with pretty much anything other than murder. And even then, he could probably convince a judge to convict some random black person for it. So, but again, powerful people, they are above the law. We don't live in a country of law. We just don't. We live in a country of control and oppression. If you are poor, right, if no one knows who you are, they're going to fuck you so hard, you'll never want to be fucked again. But if you're even slightly wealthy or in a position of moderate power, you've got all the protections in the world. So, there you go. Got a show going on today. Last night, I watched a movie. I watched a movie called Demonic. I will be reviewing that movie at the end of today's stream. It is a horror film. And, I mean, it's like a horror sci-fi. Like, it was interesting. So I'll be talking about that for the Spooktacular segment. I'm also going to say there is no cooking with the bitch today. I know, and I'm falling behind, but just bear the fuck with me. On Friday, I will be getting my booster shot. And so I will be doing a shorter stream Friday morning. I'll also be doing a horror stream on my twitch.tv channel. And so after getting the booster shot, so I'm going to be fucked up. And we'll see what the effects of that, the side effects are live on stream. So if you want to know like what happens when you get boosted, check out that Twitch stream Friday night. So anyway, I'm doing a show here. I'm doing a program. I'm doing, I'm doing something. It's a little bit of a new show that I've been doing. It's called the Above It All Show. You may have heard of it. So there is a new show. And I'm doing it now. I'm doing it right now. In fact, I'm in the middle of it. So I got to hurry up and got to finish this shit because I'm still here. I'm still in the middle of the new show. So let's jump back into it. My mouth, like my tongue, you ever get that thing where your mouth is like really wet, but your tongue is super dry? That's what coffee does to me. It dries out my tongue. Like, look at this shit. Like, it's dry. Like, what the fuck, So anyway, speaking of that, Donald Trump, the orange man back in the news, he is going to tell us something straight. World War III incoming. Trump warns of possible World War III over Ukraine, Taiwan. Oh, wow. Okay, so Donald Trump getting up there and saying World War III is coming any minute now. Okay, let's listen to his arguments. Former President Donald Trump warned Tuesday that World War III could erupt over Ukraine or Taiwan and said Russian President Vladimir Putin's threat of unleashing nuclear weapons made this a very bad and very dangerous time. During an appearance on 77 Wabak Radio, Trump was asked by host John Catsimatidis, is that a disease? What things keep you up at night? I think more than anything else, I think we could end up in World War III. And it could be all of the horrible things that took place in Ukraine. Could be. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Looks like it's going to happen in China with Taiwan, as you know, and you see what's going on over there. As you know, I mean, I don't know. Like, my question is China really going to start a nuclear war? A world war? Over a stupid fucking island that they're too fucking pansy to do anything about anyway? Like, they're gonna start a world war over a dumbass fucking island? Okay. I mean, okay. I mean, I don't know, maybe they will. That is possible. But, I don't know. That to me seems a little silly. I'm more concerned with what's going on in Russia. Trump also alluded to Putin's speech last week in which he vowed to use all the means at our disposal to protect Russia and our people. I think we're at the most dangerous time, maybe in many, many years, maybe ever, because of the power of nuclear. For a major nation that's equal with us on nuclear power to be throwing around the word cavalierly like nuclear is a very bad time. A very bad time for this country, and a very bad time and a very dangerous time for the world. Like, I mean, I love reading a Trump quote, right? Because, like, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, nuclear is a very bad time? Like, nuclear is a very bad time? What? Anyway, Trump also agreed with Kazlaitis' suggestion that if he were still president, Putin wouldn't have invaded Ukraine earlier this year. I mean, there's no evidence to suggest that's the case, right? That's like saying, I don't know, that's like saying Joe Biden entered office and Donald Trump, if Donald Trump were still in office, I don't know, man, maybe Pakistan would have blown up India. You never know. If Donald Trump won the election, which he didn't, he lost. You know, who knows? Maybe, I don't know, who knows, right? Anything's possible. Maybe Saudi Arabia would finally drop a nuke in Yemen, who knows, right? We don't know. Yeah, how in any way, like, you gotta lay out, like, a list of, like an actual argument. They just say, like, this would never have happened under me. It would have never happened. Well, would have never happened. Can you prove that? It would have never happened. The nuclear word. It's a very bad time, the nuclear word. It's such a bad time for our country. What? Like, I'm just saying, right? Like, I got along with him very well. I spoke to him. I understood him. Trump said of the Russian leader, he understood me, probably. But I understood him well, and he would have never done it. Any argument? Any argument at all? At all in any way? No, it's not gonna happen. So anyway, there you go. Donald Trump's worried about World War III. Trump also said, open borders don't make sense, adding, we have millions of people pouring. We don't have open borders. The only open borders in this country are between the states. That's it. We don't have an open border with the U.S. and Mexico or the U.S. and Canada. We don't have an open border. It's not real. There is no open border. If you try to walk across the U.S.-Mexico border, you'll be shot, imprisoned, or worse. There is no open border. What the fuck are they talking about? Anyway. Execute drug dealers, blah, 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 blah. So, Donald Trump is worried about World War III. So, does that make you more or less worried, knowing that Donald Trump is on the same wavelength as the rest of us here with the World War III stuff? You know, I don't know, man. If World War III is looming, the last thing I'm going to be concerned about is these imaginary open borders that don't exist in any area other than my imagination, right? World War III or my own imagination? What's scarier? What is a more horrifying prospect? Something that someone made up and told me once, or nuclear annihilation? I wonder what's more concerning. But anyway, there you go. Anyway, on the list of things that really inspires you to Google where the nearest bridge may be, here we have Kirsten Sinema at the McConnell Center at the University of Louisville. At the McConnell Center. Let's watch.
First, you touched on this in your talk, but can you expound on why you hold such support for the filibuster, especially when many others in your party have opposing views?
That's such a great question, Madeline. You know, Senator McConnell mentioned this in his opening remarks, and I mentioned it in my remarks as well. The danger of eliminating the 60-vote threshold is that the Senate becomes the House. And I remind everyone, I left the House and ran for the Senate for a reason.
So, okay, real quick, you might be wondering, what is the filibuster? The filibuster is made up. It's not in the Constitution anywhere. Neither the original or the amended Constitution. There is not a single area in anything that the Constitution says that talks about the filibuster or a 60-vote threshold. In fact, just the exact opposite. It's just the exact opposite. The Constitution says you only need 51 votes. Right? You need a majority, or rather you need half plus one. Just a simple majority to pass legislation through the Senate. That's what the Constitution says. So I would reckon that the filibuster is unconstitutional. That's what I postulate. That's what I'm willing to say here. The filibuster is unconstitutional. Right? So what does it mean? What is the filibuster? Well, it used to be you stand up and you talk. A lot of people know the term colloquially, oh, I'm going to filibuster. You stand up and you talk and talk and talk and talk and you don't shut the fuck up to basically just run out the clock on something. That's what the filibuster was 50, 60 years ago. Filibuster now is you go on your computer and you press a button and then boom, filibuster activated. That's it. You don't need to talk for 89 hours. All you do is go on your phone and text whoever is in charge of the Senate and say, I'm going to press the filibuster button, and then boom. Now you need, instead of needing 50 votes to pass 51 votes, now you need 60. What? So again, the filibuster makes no goddamn fucking sense. But let's listen to Kyrsten Sinema. Now again, she is speaking at an event for the Senate Minority Leader. The guy who you could, if you want to argue that anyone is the architect of what the current Supreme Court looks like, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is probably the single most responsible for this court, the Supreme Court, that just overturned the right to a protected abortion in this country. So Kyrsten Sinema going out there whining about abortion. Now she's best friends with the person who is responsible for that. Can you fucking imagine this shit?
I remember in my early years, I served for 6 years in the House of Representatives. I remember being so frustrated during those 6 years because it felt like every time there was a big bipartisan solution that needed to happen, the Senate just kind of came up with a solution and then gave it to the House and we just ate it. And that's why I ran for the Senate. Yeah. I thought, wait a second, they're doing the work. So when Republicans are in control, they pass a little bit of crazy legislation. And when the Democrats are in control, they pass a little bit of crazy legislation. And the job of the Senate is to cool that passion. You know, there's a saying that the House is the cup of hot tea, and the Senate is the saucer in which you cool that tea.
Wait, what?
You know, there's a saying that the House is the cup of hot tea, and the Senate is the saucer in which you cool that tea.
That's a saying? That's a saying? No one has ever said that. No, that's not a saying. No one has ever said that. Tea? What? What the fuck are you talking about? What? Hold on, let me listen to this again.
That passion. You know, there's a saying that the House is the cup of hot tea, and the Senate is the saucer in which you cool that tea. The Senate.
I'm speechless. All right.
It was designed to be a place that moves slowly, to cool down those passions.
That's actually not true. Well, I mean, I guess it's true in a roundabout way when you factor in that the Constitution originally said that senators were appointed by governors, and the Senate only exists in the first place to protect slavery, right? That's the only reason why the Senate exists, right? So I guess you could say that. But what? What? Like, I don't know, man. I want you to understand this, right? The Senate only exists. They only made the Senate in this country to appease slave owners. Slave owners were like, we don't want this federal government, goddamn son of a bitch. You you're giving us the Senate. Okay, well, it's not bad now all of a sudden. So again, that's the only reason the Senate fucking exists in the fucking first place. My opinion, abolish the fucking Senate and abolish senators. And when I say that, I mean get them all out, deport these motherfuckers, get them out of this country, revoke their citizenship. We don't need them.
To think more strategically and long term about the legislation before us.
Now again, long term, right? Like preventing the abolition of slavery, right? That was a little long term.
But the best thing you can do for your child is to not give them everything they want, right? And that's important to the United States Senate as well. We shouldn't get everything we want in the moment. So not only am I committed to the 60-vote threshold, I have an incredibly unpopular view. I actually think we should restore the 60-vote threshold for the areas in which it has been eliminated already. We should restore it. Yeah, not everyone likes that.
So anyway, Kyrsten Sinema, I mean, like, what can we say about this stupid-ass fucking bitch that hasn't already been said? What can we say about this dumbass, dumpster sludge, fuckface whore that hasn't already been said? This is one of the dumbest motherfuckers that has ever been born. This is one of the dumbest motherfuckers that's ever opened their mouths to say any word in any language ever throughout the entirety of human history. Like, we're talking about a real fucking stupid-ass bitch here. So, anyway, speaking at the McConnell Center, talking about how not only do I like the filibuster, I think we should have a 70-vote filibuster. In fact, the Senate should only be able to pass legislation with unanimous consent. Otherwise, it's just not okay. Like, what? Like, what is this? What fucking is this shit? What is this fucking shit? Are you joking? Is this a fucking joke? Oh my god. Embarrassing. Embarrassing to be a human, an American, a creature of this planet today. I am sorry. I apologize on behalf of life in general. I apologize on behalf of DNA just as a concept. Like, it was a mistake. Let's go back. Fuck. All right, y'all. So I got one more segment here that could be construed as a news segment. I'm not sure. But before we get into that, I want to share with you Max the dog. Maxie! Max! He's sleeping. He's not looking at me. Maxie! I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. Uh-oh. Look at him. He's moving. He's moving. So anyway, that's Max the dog. He is a dog. He's a little bit of a dog. He does like these weird things. Like he goes like barf, 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 and he goes barf, right, and then sometimes he goes barf, barf. I don't know why he does that. But I just remind myself that he is a dog, and so that's probably why. But anyway, let's do a little bit of a chaser, a little bit of a palate cleanser. I don't know where this is. I guess this is on some show. There's a show. I don't know. So, the senator from Vermont, you know the one, was on a show, and while he was on this show, he said something.
Do you plan to run again? That's something, I haven't made that decision. Right now, my focus, and I'll be going around the country, dealing with trying to elect often young progressives, often young people of color who are prepared to stand up for working families and take on big money interests.
Do you plan to run again?
So, okay. Now this went viral for obvious reasons, at least in my Twitter sphere, because, he hasn't made the decision yet. So I've been saying this for a while now. It's Bernie or bust. I don't know what else to tell you. I have nothing else to share with you. It's Bernie or bust. Bernie, you got to run again. Joe Biden's not... Even if Joe Biden does run, Bernie should run, but he's not going to do that. But Bernie's got to run again. I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't. I mean, who else? Like, think about it. Who else? Some people have been telling me, like, Gretchen Whitmer would be good. I mean, maybe, right? But who else? Who else has any sort of, like... Elizabeth Warren, not really. Kamala Harris, maybe not. Hillary Clinton, I mean, let's be honest, everybody. It's wishful thinking, right? But there is a saying. People do say this. Third time's the charm. Hey, Joe Biden won on his third try. Think about that. First try, you dropped out because you plagiarized like a Queen's speech or some shit. L for Joe Biden. Right, he went down there, he licked his wounds, he came back, whoa, lost again, but at least he became vice president, all right, not bad. And then he ran a third time, in this case, it was the charm, and then he's president. So I'm just saying, there is a saying out there, third time's the charm. I've heard people say it, I've said it before, I've heard other people say it many times. And again, Bernie Sanders said he would only consider running if Joe Biden doesn't run. That's what he has said before. And so, hey, I'm just throwing that out there. So I just wanted to share a little bit of potentially fun news with y'all there. Nothing too special, but, just a little bit of hopium, a little bit of copium. Maybe we can die in a nuclear holocaust thinking that Bernie would run again. It makes the world a little bit better. So anyway, the Senate is the saucer that cools the tea. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I'm stretching right now. I'm doing a really good stretch. You ever do this? Check this out. You ever grab your lips with your hands and just try to pull them off? Can you do damage like this? What if I was a bodybuilder, right? And I was would I be able to pull my own lips off? Where would they, when you're pulling paper apart and it rips, where would the rip be if you're pulling your lips off? Would it be around here? Where would it rip? Anyway, got a movie review coming up. Got a movie review. Hi, Max. Petting that dog. All right. So yesterday, I watched a film that I've never heard of. It's called Demonic. You ever think about, okay, so how do we pronounce demon? Demon, right? But you're telling me people pronounce it demonic? No, obviously it's pronounced demonic. So anyway, I was scrolling through some films on my streaming services. I've been watching a lot of franchises for the Spookstacular so far. And I've decided I want to watch something I've never heard of. I've never heard of it. I want to scroll through a list of movies, click on something I've never heard of, and this is what I clicked on. This is Demonic. And this is like a sci-fi horror movie, and it's got the guy from Beyond the Black Rainbow. So if you like Beyond the Black Rainbow, he's really good in this movie. You got the freak from Beyond the Black Rainbow in this movie. And that was the only person I recognized. But anyway, so this movie basically, like, the first half is kind of like a sci-fi thing, right? Like, so someone's mother, like, all we know is the main character's mother went crazy and burned, like, people alive, like, burned, like, 20 people alive in like, a nursing home or some shit. And she went to jail, and then, like, you know, she got bullied for having a freak mom or something, and she resents her mother, right? So, and then she gets a call from, like, her old boyfriend or whatever, saying, like, hey, I heard your mom is in a coma, and you should go see her. In fact, the people at this private health clinic told me to go contact you about it. And then so she's like, all right, well, I'll go, only to tell my mom that I fucking hate her, right? So right, but, like, wait, she's in a coma, right? But so how are they going to communicate? Well, the thing about this movie that's funny and that's interesting is, again, it's a sci-fi horror movie, right? So they kind of have this, like, Inception thing going on. Like, you can, like, go into someone's, like, coma dream, right? And, like, this is just, like, the middle part of the movie. So you're thinking, oh, okay, so they go into the coma dream, right? And then she sees the mom, and the mom is like, okay, I know you hate me, but, and then she's like, I hate you, you suck, mom, you fucking stupid bitch. And then the mom is like, you gotta get the fuck out of here. I know you hate me, etc., get out of here. So then she gets out of here. And then, like, you know, so she's at this private medical facility with the guy from Beyond the Black Rainbow and some other dude who's got, like, a shitload of tattoos. And you know, they're like doctors or some shit, and they're asking her a bunch of questions, and then they're asking her to come back again and do it a second time, and she's like, no, I only wanted to tell her that I hate her. So anyway, then she gets convinced, she goes back a second time. And so then they're in the Inception world, they're in the, like, the weird coma dream world sci-fi bullshit. And so they're in there, and then, like, some weird demon appears, and, like, you know, like, the demon, like, cuts their arm like this, right? But then, like, the cut arrives on her arm in the real world, right? And then it's like, whoa, all right. So then we went from sci-fi to supernatural. Like, in that moment, that's the sci-fi to supernatural jump. And then, like, so that means, like, the demon has possessed her in some way, right? Then it's later revealed that the private medical clinic is, like, and this is what I love about this, is probably my favorite part of the movie, is there's a whole scene where, like, it's revealed that the private health clinic is, like, a subset of the Vatican. And the Vatican, it's like they're an exorcism, like, group of professional exorcists, right? And so, and then there's, like, a montage where they're, like, all the guys in the clinic, like the guy from Beyond the Black Rainbow and the other doctors, they're getting guns, and they're putting on, like, these, like, uniforms and costumes, and they're ready to go, like, exorcise this fucking goddamn demon, right? And it's like, okay, so wait, so it starts off as a sci-fi movie, and then now there's a demon that possesses the bitch, right? And there's this, like, super hunky Vatican exorcists that have guns. They're gonna exorcise a demon with guns. Okay. Now the thing I like about this movie the most probably are the, like, hallucinations. There's a lot of hallucinations. Once she becomes possessed, like, she starts to see things, she starts to have weird dreams. There's one part where one of her friends comes over, and it's a dream, it's a hallucination, and then her friend, like, bends over backwards or whatever and starts, like, running at her like a fucking crab or something, but bent, it's with a weird there's a lot of really fucked up horror visuals in this movie, and you know what, honestly, I thought it was really good. Overall, I think this movie is really good. I mean, it's a little cheesy in some areas, right? But, you know, overall, I think it's really great. Like, I've never really seen a movie that combines, like, the sci-fi and the horror in a way that works. And in my opinion, this works. So anyway, the super demon hunter guys, like, they do this nice montage of them getting their guns on, and, you know, them, like, looking, like, super, like, you know, hunky, and we're gonna go beat the shit out of these demons, right? So then she, like, the main character has a dream. She goes to the woods, and then she finds all these motherfuckers, they're dead. So, like, they hype them up, like, the whole movie, they just hype these motherfuckers up. Yeah, these are super demon hunters, we're paid for by the Vatican, we're the best in the world, we're exorcists. And then, like, she shows up, they're all dead, everyone's dead. It's like, what? Right? So then she's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. She goes in there. She finds, like, this weird dream machine that's, like, in the sanatorium that they went to in the middle of the woods. She goes into the mom's dream. The mom, like, kills herself in her dream or some shit. And then it's, like, a showdown with the demon. Then like, she's running away trying to fight this demon or whatever. The movie ends. I mean, I won't spoil the ending. I think the ending's good. Maybe you could have done without the scene at the end, but everything, I prefer the sad ending over the happy ending. So they do like a recoup in the hospital scene, But anyway, I thought this movie was good. It was creative. It was interesting. It's like a sci-fi exorcist movie. And I thought it was cool. I like the dream stuff, like the effects when they're in the dream and like it's all like glitchy and it's like kind of like it looks like they just filmed it with a regular camera but added a bunch of like filters and like added a bunch of extra shit on the foreground layers. And I think that's super cool. I thought that the movie's effects were really cool. The characters were okay. One of the friend was really kind of annoying. Like she just wouldn't shut the fuck up, but I guess that was her character, so I can't really complain too much. The dream effects, like the hallucinations, I should say, actually, the like visual hallucinations from the main character, that stuff is cool. The creature design, like what the demon looks like, super cool. Like I thought this movie was really good, and then I looked it up online, and it's got like a fucking 35% rating. Who the fuck, like, imagine watching this movie and you're like, this movie is below average? Go fuck yourself, man. I would say this movie is way, way above average as far as movie quality goes. But anyway, my goal last night was to watch a movie I'd never heard of before on the horror thing. I'm going to do that again tonight. Just watch a movie I've never heard of it before. Browse the horror tab and just see what pops up, because I've been watching some franchises, Nightmare on Elm Street, Ring. Those are movies I've heard of before. I've seen them before. And I want to go into the opposite direction. Never heard of this. This is a one-off. This is, even if it's a series I've never heard of. So we're just jumping in. And last night, again, I watched Demonic, and I would recommend it. So if you want to watch this movie tonight, I saw it on Hulu. I believe it's like the Showtime application, which I have. There's like a deal or some shit. You can get like a month for $1. So I got that. And this was on there. But anyway, Demonic, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. And, again, I've never really seen a blend of sci-fi and horror work this well. You could say, like, Alien is sci-fi horror, I guess, that's in there. But usually, like, a lot of modern horror, anyway, is, like, usually it's just like, oh, it's a supernatural. They call in some person that works, there, and then they, blah, 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 blah. Right? So, whatever. So anyway, I was into this. I thought it was good. And anyone that rated this 35%, you just got to have a low IQ. So Demonic, check it out. Add it to your list. I recommend it. And once again, tonight, I'm just going to scroll through and look for shit. There you go. And I'll tell you what the next franchise I'm going to go through will be. In fact, I'll tell to you right now. I'm going to be watching the Scream franchise now. I haven't tracked down every movie in the franchise, but I know the first 3 I have access to, and I think I have access to 4. Isn't there like a Scream 6 coming out or something sometime? I don't know. So anyway, Scream, I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3 for the Screams. I might do 4, I might do 5 if I can find them. But Scream 1, 2, and 3 will be my next franchise. So if you want to watch those in the next week or so and prep for that, that'd be cool. If not, that's also pretty good. And there you go. Spook Sixular is complete for today. So that's the show. I'm pretty much done with the show. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. I was a little, little zany today. I like to go for the zany show every now and then. So we're zany, we're wacky, and there you go. So that's the show. Will I do a Twitch stream later? I don't know. I've been kind of, so anyway, there you go. That's it. I have nothing else as far as public materials to be digested and ingested by the public. Where the hell is Max Dog? Maxie! Max! Where's my puppy? Where the hell is my pup? That's right, I'm streaming from my pajamas again today. I'm a little bit of a hot mess lately, but, bear with me. No. So anyway, Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Johnny Too Late. Thank you, Andrew Kohler. Thank you, Tyler Hackner. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Andrew66 Power. Thank you, Letterhack. Thank you, Realon. In fact, never mind. Don't thank you, Realon. Fuck you, Realon. Yeah, that's right. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Realon. And everyone else, Abner, Joseph Martinez, Hook, and so on and so forth. Thank you all for watching. Hello, Keith. Have I watched and reviewed Evil Dead? No, but whenever I find them or find access to them, I'll do that. If you want to contribute to my horror movie fund, so that I can track down and buy horror movies when I need to for the Spook-60lar, PayPal and Cash App are the best way to do so. That way I get the money now. So if anyone wants to do that, that'd be great. And there you go. Goodbye. Have a great day, and etc.
And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
Brandon, I agree.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.